Welcome to Thriving Tribesmen. My name is Kuri, your host, and I'm excited to be making this episode. One of the things that's going to stop her from changing her mind in terms of getting from a sexless relationship into sexual success is the fact that she doesn't value sex. And you're probably thinking you're the one that's contributed to it just by yourself, but there's been a series of things that just happened in her life that devalue sex within the relationship, not just in the relationship, but devalue sex in her mind. And one of the things that normally happens, and this is quite common with most men, and I would say 90% of men, and even the ones that are having sex, is that they actually do not qualify the woman. And just one second, I'll explain what qualifying is, and I'll just go back and say what usually happens. For a woman, when she's about sort of 12, 13, is when she starts getting breasts and her hips start getting a bit wider, which then triggers people to actually be attracted to her. So generally, it's probably people that are sort of around your age will be the ones that start acting weird around her. And this is a quote from women. They'll say, oh, they started acting weird around me. And that weirdness means that there's a change in behavior because they're now trying to do this thing where they're trying to be the best suitor for them to have sex with her. So, which means, these boys will start being overly nice. They'll become overly weird and nervous around the woman, and she will pick up on this. And over the many years that she gets older, when she gets to 16, those guys actually grow, the amount of guys that are acting weird around her. By the time she gets to 18 to 20, and she's now exposed to even more men, there's now a bigger group of people. So wherever she goes, her standards are kept very low, that she only has to do something, just has to only smile back, and that's already enough in terms of approval and her standing within the interaction. So you think about it, that in terms of a guy, if you're walking or you're in a room and a beautiful woman looks across to you and then they smile to you, it will absolutely make your day, because you think, oh my God, this really beautiful woman has just looked at me and then smiled to me. Whereas if it's the other way around, you could be the most attractive male, and if you smile to a woman, she'll probably think you're some sort of creep or whatever. And I think the perfect example of this is that you look at the plus size models, people that are considered unattractive in most standards, where they're really overweight and so on. They have a lot of people going through their DMs, so they only just have to show a bit of skin, and then they've got a flood of people trying to be with them or sleep with them. And that's what I'm trying to say about that sexual value that's placed on women, or at least the standards that are placed on women, are pretty low when it comes from a sexual standpoint. And if you look at the guys that are the most attractive guys on Instagram, go to the gym, look good, and so on, they've got a very few DMs happening in terms of people wanting to sleep with them or date with them. They do have the DMs, people that send them DMs, but it's not as frequent as the most unattractive girl within Instagram. So it just shows you this power disparity that's happening when it comes to when it comes to sexual value within the interaction between women and men. And this continues on into a relationship, because when you've got those lower standards that she only has to behave in a nice way and you approve or you reward for very, very minimal behavior. And when you do this over a period of time, she just lowers the bar in terms of the effort that she can put in. So therefore, when it comes to the actual sex, or her seducing, her proving her worth, she doesn't have to prove her worth, but from this context, her bringing up her A game, she doesn't need to bring her A game, because the Z game is enough, or Z game is enough if you're from the UK, because you've allowed that to be the way you judge her performance. So you judge her performance by the most minimal thing effort that she can put in is always enough. And you do this during sex. And what happens when you do this is that it places no value to the thing that you find the most important, because you think by lowering the barrier, you're actually, by easing the access to sex, or to anything, to your approval, to your validation, it just weakens it and cheapens it, and then therefore again, you end up in this place where it's in a sexless relationship, because all of a sudden she doesn't feel like she needs to make an effort. Whereas I find that the more I qualify my wife, the more I qualify within my relationship. And again, I don't do it in the fact that I'm sort of with what I say qualification, I've ever explained. So qualification basically means that they have to raise their standards in order to get your approval. So for example, like I said, with my wife, she might say something sexual, but if she's not bringing an A game, I'm not going to respond. I will sort of just shake it off. If she's overly being seductive, I might respond with the equal amount of effort that she's putting in. Or sometimes I might just call it out on it and say, you know what, the effort that you're putting in is rather pathetic. You're going to have to bring better than that. And I would say it in a joking way, but it's just sort of, and then, because I obviously don't want to make her feel bad, but also I just want to make the note to say, you know what, you need to really bring more than this, what you're bringing right now. And it's a very important thing to actually understand, because when you do this, when she only has to show you her thighs and then you're horny, and then if she only has to lay in bed, or she only has to come out of the shower and then you're already overly sexual, the barrier becomes so very low that she's not putting any effort in seduction. Now you're probably wondering, well, why does she need to put any effort? When she puts effort in and she gets your approval, it is the most powerful form where she gets to the most powerful form of orgasm. Because again, if she has to work towards it, the reward is much greater. So, and if you think of it from a biological standpoint, there's a release of dopamine. The dopamine release is much, much, much bigger when she feels like she's put this effort to get your approval and your validation when during seduction, and you're not just a pushover. So you're not, because I mean, it's kind of like walking 5 meters compared to walking 5 miles. The feeling after accomplishing those two is completely two different feelings. And that's why you see that when you can just increase the qualifications, or increase your standards, you increase the level of effort that she has to put in, the more she's going to feel good about herself. That's one important part. But the more she's going to feel good about your relationship, because she feels this sense of achievement within the relationship. So it's a very important part. And I thought I'd share this. I was sharing this recently with the client. I thought this is a very powerful thing to share. And if you now want to be one of our clients, you can go to our Facebook group, Thriving Tribesmen. I've put links to the 3 steps that you might need to change your sexless relationship. So there's resources over there that are free. In order to get a coaching call, I've realized that I didn't put a calendar for you to get a coaching call. It's a free coaching call. We talk about your relationship, we talk about the things that you've done, and then we give you a custom seduction plan for free. And we'll give you this because we want to show you that there is actually different things that you can do. If you decide to come to the second call, it's going to be totally up to you. You're not going to be high pressure sold, but at least you'd have got the result of having the seduction plan. Therefore, when we ask you to join our program, it would be us actually selecting you because of the way you've applied yourself initially. So you have to apply yourself on the first task that we give you, and then at the same time you'll be invited on. So if I don't invite you, it just means that we're not at the right place to invite you on. There's a few things that you might need to sort out before you get invited on. If you get invited on, so it's like I said, it's not a high pressure sales. Most people feel, most of you guys are afraid because of you think you're going to be highly, there's going to be this pressure selling, buy this, and it's not like that. Like I said, we're here to help you guys, and definitely take us upon that coaching call. So thank you very much for listening. I'll be speaking to you. Take care.